Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my December reading wrap-up. In 2025, I would love to get back in the habit of sharing my monthly reads. I really got out of that habit last year and just kept falling behind. So even though I have a very small reading wrap-up for the month of December, I wanted to share it with you anyways. I did read 9 books in the month of December, but a lot of them were very short novellas. But that's okay because I had a really chill holiday season, staying at home with my boys, and it was really nice, and I was happy to read quite a few holiday novellas. So I'm first going to chat about the Under the Mistletoe short story collection thing that is on Kindle Unlimited. They are 5 holiday romances written by 5 different romance authors, and all of them are like 150 pages or less. So I actually read the first novella at the very end of November, and I did really enjoy that one. Our 2 main characters get snowed in. I'm really not going to elaborate on any of these because they are very short, but I did give the first book 4 stars at the end of November, so that wasn't included in my 9. Book number 2, Merry Ever After by Tessa Bailey, I gave 2 stars. Our male main character is just so huge. Absolutely massive. Can't find any clothes or a woman to fit him. Yeah. All by My Elf by Olivia Dade, I gave 2.75 stars. The Weenie on Wheels provided some comic relief to the story, but the actual romance novella part didn't hit. Merriment and Mayhem by Alexandria Bellafleur. We have our main female character who just keeps having accidents that require the fire department to be called, and we have a very good looking fireman that comes to her rescue quite often. And I gave this one 4 stars because I could honestly envision this being a full-length novel. I really appreciated the comedic elements, and I liked both of our main characters. And then the very last book I read in December was Only Santa's in the Building by Alexis Daria, and this one was cute as well. I didn't really have a lot of feelings towards this one. It was just kind of in the middle. I enjoyed it, but it's not that memorable to me. And I did buddy read all of these with book Bestie Sam, of course. So my favorite of the 5 was the 4th book, Merriment and Mayhem. I also finally finished The Ritual by Chantal Tessier in December. This book took me months to read. It's a 600-page dark romance, and I will chat about it more in an upcoming reading vlog, but I did end up giving this 3 stars. It could have been 200 pages shorter and the story would have been the same. I have been slumping in my personal life, all aspects of my life, including my reading, for the last 3 months of the year. But it still shouldn't take me 8-9 weeks to read a book. So I don't think it was all my fault. Then I read Pines by Blake Crouch. I actually got this book from my library. It was drawn into my December TBR, Roll the Dice with the Dash of Chaos. This is a sci-fi thriller, and as I was reading through it, I was like, where do the sci-fi elements come in? We are following a special agent who was sent to Wayward Pines, Idaho to try and find 2 missing agents, which they completely lost contact with. Unless they heard from them, they were headed into Wayward Pines, Idaho. He gets into an accident and is hospitalized in this town and is being nursed back to health. But there's something very strange going on in this town. All of the neighbors, they really avoid talking about certain topics. There's no newspapers to be found or any news of the outside world at all. Everyone is very smiley, and it seems fake, like a movie set or something. And obviously don't want to spoil things. There's definitely a sci-fi element that comes in towards the end, but he tries to leave. He steals a vehicle and tries to leave, and he's like driving on this road, da 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 da. You are now leaving Wayward Pines. There's a bend in the road, and then the next thing he sees is welcome to Wayward Pines. You cannot leave this town. It was very interesting. I really enjoyed my time. I gave it 4 stars, and I'm very excited to continue on. This is a trilogy. I then finally finished None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I feel like December I was just like wrapping up books that have been on my currently reading on Goodreads for so long. I started reading this in like August. It is a thriller with a podcast element. We're following 2 women who go to the same restaurant on the same day, and it is their birthday. And, you know, the restaurant does the happy birthday thing, whatever, for both of them. They discover, oh my gosh, you're my birthday twin. They are the same age, born at the same hospital. And Alex Summers is a podcaster, and she interviews very successful women on her podcast. Now, Josie kind of reels her in with this birthday twin spin and says, I'm about to make some very big changes in my life, and I would love for you to document them, because I'm not one of these very successful women that you usually have on your podcast, but I will be, and following the journey is going to be really interesting. So they start like putting together this podcast together, and things obviously go off the rails. It is a thriller. The audiobook for this is fantastic. I love when we have this like podcast or multimedia elements to a story to listen to it via audio. It just adds another layer to it. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars because I'm so conflicted. On the one hand, this was so dark, so twisty, and the characters really kept me on my toes. But then on the other hand, I was consistently able to set this down for months at a time and not even be thinking of it. Like when my audiobook hold would expire, the only thing reminding me that I was still in the middle of this book was that it was on my currently reading on Goodreads. So I feel like maybe this one is not going to stick with me. The last 2 books I have to chat about are Advent style books. So I finished them both like on Christmas Day. The first I'm going to talk about is 12 Days of Smutmas by Dana Leanne. I buddy read this with Sam. I didn't even give this a rating because it's 12 short stories, the 12 days of Christmas. You read 1 short story every single day. There were some short stories in here that I liked. They were fine. I enjoyed them. I honestly can't remember a single one, but there were so many in here that were bad, that were cringe, that I was like reading in between my fingers because I couldn't believe what I was reading. I'll be unhauling this. My husband got it for me just like kind of as a gag gift at the beginning of the month. He's like, oh, you're always reading those smutty books, which I really don't read that many smutty books, but in his head I do. And then he saw this on Amazon and ordered it, but I won't be keeping this. And lastly, I buddy read with Emma 25 Days by Per Jacobson. And again, I didn't give this a rating. So this was an Advent where you read 1 chapter every day starting on December 1st, leading up until Christmas. And the chapters were titled like the date, and it was the date within the story with our characters, right? And this is a horror Advent calendar. We're following this family who just really needs a break from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. So they book this cabin for like a week or a weekend, something like that, up in the woods. It's very snowy. I believe it's set in New York State. I could be wrong. And obviously things start going wrong. And there definitely are a lot of thrillery and horror elements, and only being able to read one chapter per day, especially at the beginning, really built up the suspense. But because each chapter was also just one day in the storyline, we were only getting just a very brief snippet of their day each day, and it gave Emma and I a lot of opportunities to kind of pick apart things that weren't making sense. And you can only keep building the suspense up to a certain point until we were like, are we going to make any progress on the plot? Are we going to get any answers at some point? So you get to the end and it's one of those dun dun dun, the end. But is it? And it's like, you just made me read one chapter per day for 25 days in a row, and then that was the ending? I don't know. I didn't rate it. I really enjoyed it at the beginning. My enjoyment kind of wavered in the middle, and then it was consistently going downhill. You won't get any answers. You'll leave the story with more questions than what you went in with. Maybe you enjoy that sort of thing. The Advent formatting of it was really fun to buddy read, and I had a lot of fun only reading one chapter a day and then being told to stop. That was a fun element. Just the story itself didn't wrap up. I'm not sure how I managed to ramble on that long for just very brief reviews of 9 books, but that is all that I read in the month of December. Overall, a pretty good end to the year. I did finish 122 books in 2024, and I have set my Goodreads goal at 100 once again, and if I meet that, I will be more than pleased. We are a week into January already, and I have yet to finish a book, but I'm reading a really chunky fantasy, so I'm giving myself grace. I hope you guys enjoy monthly reading wrap-ups. As long as you do, I will try my best to post them, and I would love to hear from you in the comments on what your favorite read from the month of December was. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!